Okay, if I say GM, you say it back. GM? I'm saying GM because the Web3 community never sleeps. So every time it's GM. GM is short for good morning. So GM again? Okay, right. So I want us to right, dive right into it. And I want you to follow me, please. And this is a note of warning. I am not speaking to developers. Do you understand? I want the least person in this place that have no idea about what a blockchain is, what Sui is, to know what it is as I speak. Do you understand? So I'm not coming to speak to developers. You already have your niche, right? So I am assuming that there are a lot of people here who don't even have an idea of what it is. Are we together? Am I correct? So that's where I want to start from. Do you agree? I don't want to start using words for you that I know that a lot of people, or maybe blockchain developers, already know, right? I want to start from the very least person, right? For example, I want to give Ome. Am I pronouncing it right? Do you know what a blockchain is? You have an idea? Yes, but I want somebody who do not know what it is. You don't know what it is. So please, pardon me if I want to try to make him understand. Are we together? Do we agree? So please, my name is Ngbede. I am the community manager. Please, I need that slide up. For Sui on campus, it means we will be interacting a lot. You have heard our team lead. He has said a lot of things. So I am your go-to person, right? It means whatever confuses you here, you should be in my DM. Are we together? Are we together? Please, I need energy. I need energy. You know, the Uniport event, there's something they used to greet themselves. For example, the faculty of engineering student in the place wanted to collect the issue from my hand. They used to say, engineering ginger. Then everybody shout ginger. Do you understand? Okay, here you say great Uniben, right? So great Uniben. I really want you to follow me as I pass you, as I walk you through what Sui is. That's my topic. I want to walk you through blockchain fundamentals, and then I'll walk you through Sui, because it is a blockchain. Are we together? Is that okay? Okay, what is a blockchain? Next slide, please. Just what is a blockchain? What is a blockchain? When you hear blockchain, what does it mean? So you might have used your dictionary. You might have gone to Google. What is a blockchain? So now let me try to explain a blockchain for you. You see, for example, there is a mode of communication that researchers have used to show how quickly communications can be distorted, right? For example, if I tell this guy a sentence and I tell him to tell him, right? Before that thing passes to the last person, there is a distortion in communication. Do you understand? That's how to distort communication, so that most of you have issues with some of your friends because what you said is not what they said to somebody. Are we together? Are we together? So you must have witnessed that there's a distortion in communication. That's why what you actually said is not what was said, right? So imagine having now to speak to this guy and make sure that what I told him is eventually what ends up in the last person's ear. Not distorted, not altered, and not deleted. Do you understand? Like what I said to him is what ended up in the last person's ear. Exactly. So that's what a blockchain is. Right? Now, note that for it to move from him to that person, it has to go through all of you. Right? It has to go through all of you. So think of it this way. A blockchain is like a book that I have, that you have, that he has, that you have, that every one of us have. And my page one and everything written on it is the same thing that is on your page one, with the same thing written on it, that you can make changes to, I can make changes to. While I am making changes to, or while I'm writing on it, you can see it, and you cannot delete it. I cannot also delete your own. That's what a blockchain is. So it is blocks that forms a chain. I'm going to walk you through all those. But let me first of all understand that you have gotten it. Do you understand what a blockchain is now? Okay, let me try using another last example. Let's say a train, a moving train, right? Trains are connected in compartments. Do you understand? There's a place where maybe in quote, the driver or the sailor is, right? Is connected to the very last deck. So that if you divide it, if you stop one part of it, the other part are going to stop. Why? Because they are connected, right? Because they are connected. Are we together? So because they are connected, anything that happens as per movement from the first compartment happens to the last compartment. So that's what a blockchain is. I have access to it. You have access to it. Because all of us have mobile devices like networks, right? Laptop computers. All of us have computers that connects to it. So the same version that you have access to is the same version I have access to, is the same version that you can make changes to, and I can see your changes, and I cannot delete your changes. I cannot also alter your changes. Do you understand? In the same way, anything that is reciprocal, like I can reciprocate, you can reciprocate to me. Why? It is all on a blockchain. Do you understand now? Are we together? Do we understand what a blockchain is? When you hear the word blockchain, it means a connection of blocks. Transactions have to be approved, carried out by both of us. Meanwhile, I am seeing the thing that you are carrying out, but I cannot do anything to it. Do you understand? Cannot be altered, cannot be deleted, cannot be whatever distorted, right? My book, my ledger is the same thing you have. Meanwhile, I can make changes to it. You are seeing it, but you cannot delete it. In the same way, you are making changes to your own. How? By computers, right? Are we together? That's what a blockchain is. So these are the features of a blockchain. Like I've said, it is immutable. It means all these characteristics have been mentioned. You cannot alter it, right? You cannot just change your mind and say him is doing rubbish, so you should delete it, or you should alter it, or you should stop him from making changes to it. You cannot do that, right? It is immutable. Next, it is transparent. All of us, that is why all of us can see it, right? I may not know the face behind it, but I can see that something is happening here. Somebody is writing on this book, right? Somebody is writing on this book. He can see it, I can see it. That is transparency. That is also security, right? Next is that it is secure. I've mentioned security. Next is that it is consensus driven. Is as the word applies. Consensus means I have to agree and you have to agree. Do you understand? That's consensus driven. So I will tell you how it applies. Next slide, please. So these are the architectures. This is how blockchain moves for it to now derive the name blockchain. Right? If you notice that, if you have typed, for example, if you are typing on Google or your dictionary, you are looking for the meaning of blockchain, most of your keypad wants to separate block from chain, right? If you join the words together, it starts to mark red as if it does not exist, not a word, right? This is why. So it is from network nodes. The word nodes there is as per individual computers. So me and you can be nodes, right? Me and you can be nodes. So the collection of all of us on it, all of us are nodes, right? We are making changes to it as per, because we are nodes. So we are like validators, right? Next is that it is for every validation, for every steps, those are called blocks. So there's progression happen in blocks. I explained with a train. Let's call every compartment blocks. I explained with how that information should move from him to the last person. Let's call every of you blocks, right? Are we together? We call all of you blocks. Next is chain formation. So the connection of every block to the last, that's chain formation, right? If you put the words together, it's called what? Blockchain. Are we together? Are we together? So consensus mechanisms, it is a kind of mechanism that all of us have to agree on. There are different kinds on blockchain. Proof of work, proof of stake. Proof of stake is what most blockchains use. Proof of stake is like me and you can validate transactions because of the number of the cryptocurrency of that blockchain that we hold, right? For example, Ethereum validators can validate transactions because of the number of Ethereum they hold. So they use proof of stake, right? Next, please, next slide. So this is Sui. Then we are now talking about Sui. Sui is a blockchain. So everything that I explained about blockchain now apply to Sui. Sui is a blockchain. Other blockchains, I mentioned Ethereum. Ethereum is a blockchain. Tron is a, right? Can you mention one? Give me one. You said? Solana is a blockchain. Avalanche. Avalanche is a blockchain. Aptos is a blockchain. So for those of you that don't know what a blockchain is, these are blockchains, right? Blockchains do not just exist. They exist to solve solutions, right? Now, what is Sui? Sui is a layer 1 blockchain. Layer 1 is like the highest ranking of categories in blockchain. There are layer 2s, which are like a base. Base, for example, on the Ethereum network is a... Now, let me explain what a layer 1 means. Layer 1 means you, on your own, have your blockchain, right? You are your blockchain. In layman terms, you are your blockchain, right? Sui is its blockchain, right? If now there's a layer 2 blockchain called base. Base means you are a blockchain that cannot exist alone, right? You need to be built on a mainframe blockchain. You need to be built on a layer 1 blockchain, right? Layer 3 applies to dApps, right? Decentralized applications and all of that. You are going to find out what those things mean. So for you to be layer 1, it means on your own, you are comfortably a blockchain with your own solutions, with your own architecture, with your own infrastructures, right? It means you are not borrowing any features, any usability, any functionality from any other place. You on your own, you are your own blockchain. You have your own functionality, you have your own usability, you have everything that makes a blockchain a blockchain. So Sui is part of them. It's layer 1 blockchain on its own. Like I explained, there's a layer 2, one of the popular layer 2 blockchain is Base. Base has to exist on Ethereum, right? How many of you are familiar with Base? Base has to exist on Ethereum, right? I'm saying that for you to be a layer 1, you do not need somebody to exist. For you to be layer 2, you need a proper blockchain to exist. It means there are functionalities, usabilities that you need to take or borrow from them. Because why? You are layer 2, they are layer 1. So Sui is a layer 1 blockchain that has robust performance. What do I mean by that? I mean scalability, speed, and cost are part of the issues that they are settling. I mean, Sui is not fast in the way Ethereum is fast. I mean, Sui goes beyond most of the blockchain that you know. Are we together? Are we together? So it is decentralized, like other blockchains. They are decentralized. It means we are taking a step away from centralization. What is centralization? Centralization is like all informations, all identity is in one place. I mean, with somebody. For you to have a Facebook account, it means you need to register with your details, and Mark Zuckerberg have access to that information. Do you understand? He can do with it whatever he wants to do with it. Right? That is centralization. It means for you to open a first bank account, they need to pass you through submitting your ID card, doing BVN, go and collect all the affidavit that they need you to collect. Why? They need a record of you so that they can use it to do things even when you are not there. That's centralization. That, like, your information is with somebody. Right? And that's not very good stuff. That's what Web 2 operates on. So a move away from Web 2 is Web 3, and Web 3 is decentralized. It means your information is your own. It gives you trust. It gives you security. You don't have privacy issues. Right? Somebody does not need to go to Facebook to see how old you are. Because that's centralized. So this is decentralized. Your information is with you. Except to share with somebody they cannot know. Right? That's what it means to be decentralized. Next is that it is high performance and low latency. I don't want to dwell on this because you are going to find out. By that I mean Sui is one of the... let me correct myself. Sui is the fastest blockchain existing. Right? You are going to find out how fast it is with other speakers. But it is the fastest blockchain existing. Right? I am a gamer. I love to play games. Right? Imagine building a gaming solution on this kind of fastness. As a gamer, part of the things I do not like to encounter when I'm playing games is that my game should not be hanging. Or your 4 gig RAM phone should not be hanging. Right? When you need things to be done. That problem does not exist here. Right? Next is that it is developer friendly, and it's like a developer friendly platform. This is why we are here. Before this event, I started to introduce how that all the campuses we have gone to, we have onboarded guys, divided them into teams, and they are solving solutions. Like they are building solutions. I mean, most of them are in testing phase. By testing phase, I mean they're in a phase where it is only one step remaining before it is available for the community to use, for me and you to use, right? I mentioned Swimail, I mentioned Swift, right? These are solutions that are being built by students like you from other campuses that we have visited. Do you understand? Next slide, please. So Move programming language. If you are familiar with other blockchains, you know that most blockchains have their own peculiar programming language. I mean, the machine by which it runs on, right? Are we together? So you do not need to be a developer to understand this. I just need to tell you what it means, right? This is why we can boast that Sui is the fastest blockchain at the moment. So what a time to be alive, right? So Move is a programming language that Sui runs on. So it is, I know most of you are familiar with Aptos, right? And you know that Aptos too say they move on, they have the same programming language, right? It is not a lie, but technically it is not true in the sense that Aptos is using Move programming language in the original design, right? Like in the original design. In the original design, it was motivated by Rust, right? Now, the founders of Sui found out that there are basically some more things that are wrong with it, so they decided to build their own from scratch, and they solved a lot of scalability issues, right? So when you go on Google, you will see that they run both on Move programming language, but they're actually different. So that Sui's own is like an advancement of what Aptos is using, right? Which is why Aptos cannot compete in terms of speed in the same way that Sui is, right? Are we together? Yes. Next is that it is, let me just, you know what I've mentioned about object-based architecture. When I was explaining what layer 1 is, I mean every blockchain in the sense that it is must have qualities that it brought up by itself, and it is not borrowing solutions from other blockchain to be a blockchain, right? Next is that it is gas-free transactions, almost gas-free transactions. That's what Sui offers. In fact, it is one of the cheapest blockchain at the moment, right? For example, most of you are familiar with cryptocurrency, right? You are familiar with cryptocurrency. You pay a lot just because you want to do transactions on Ethereum, right? And the way Ethereum operates, Ethereum does not do first come, first serve basis, right? If I initiate a transaction on Ethereum and my gas fee is $14, you now initiate your own 10 minutes after I have done mine, and your gas fee is $36. They will attend to you first before they attend to me. Why? Your gas fee is higher than me, so it's not first come, first serve, it's not FCFS, right? Sui does not deal with those stuff. It is almost gas-free transaction, so it is instant. It is per second stuff, right? Are we together? Next. Okay, I talked about decentralized identity management. So we have this kind of stuff so that it's like a bridge between Web 2 and Web 3. Your information is not with somebody, it is with you. However, it has the kind of identity that a Web 2 can normally give to you. We have that kind of function because it's ZK logins, right? You're going to hear more about it. Next, please. Yeah, comparison with other blockchains. I started to tell you how transactions work with Ethereum and all of that, right? Ethereum is not, I'm not trying to say they are bad, I'm just trying to say this is how they operate. Because of the kind of transaction per second they record is very low. That's why they have to treat big transaction first, no matter how long you with your small transaction has been on the queue, right? So their validators validate transactions because of the kind of Ethereum that you hold. It doesn't matter the number of times you have wasted on the queue, right? So Sui eliminates that selections. So Solana, most of you are Solana fans, right? You people, but I need to give you an assignment, right? Please properly go and do a research by yourself. Sui and Solana. Go on X and find out what it is that Sui is, that Solana is not. I'm not being biased, right? I'm saying Sui is the fastest blockchain as it is, right? Next, I don't want to stay here so that will not generate controversy. So I want to move to real-world applications. How does it apply to me? How can I find a way to, because let it not be like I'm talking over your head. All this thing he's saying, I cannot find a way by which I can come in, right? We have a lot of supply chain management issues in Africa, in Nigeria. In fact, if we go to agriculture alone, right, from the moment by which crops mature enough to be harvested from the farm to the point by which it appears on the market, there's a lot of wastages that have gone in between, right? So we need solutions. We need solutions that can make these things very fast so that food are not going to be wasted. If you look at the food wastage statistics online, it is very terrible. It is very terrible. So we need to do better. Supply chain management have a lot of things by which they can use the advantages available for us in SUI. One of them is fastness, scalability to solve the problem. Next is identity verification. I talked about how that you do not need to be registering in a platform, right? And your information is somebody. In case you don't know, government like to have control of a lot of things, and part of it is your information. So centralized platforms gives them that liability. Like they just give your information to them, and if you are available, if you follow what happens in the news, you notice that, for example, recently the CEO of Telegram, Durov, was captured by the France government, right? Why? It's because he would not release your information. It's because he did not want to release your information to the people who need this to do what they want to do, and that's who? Government, right? So it gives you identity, but it does not make it centralized. It still belongs to you. It gives you your trust, privacy, and security, right? Next, voting system. I have a solution here. Here, I just want to ideate. I just want to give it as an idea, just in case when you are divided into groups, you can find a way to make sure that we correct voting system in our country. Voting system in our country is rubbish, right? I mean, at 2024, you could just did the election, right? You could just did the election, and there are places I walked around. I still saw that INEC was posting papers, so that you come to polling centers, you go and check for your name first before you now go and vote, right? That's a lot of hassle for the kind of country that we are in 2024, right? We need a voting system that you don't need to begin in INEC office to register to vote. There's a nation that does it in this world. One, I think, you can register from anywhere that you are. How do you do it? You register from using a platform. Once you register, they give you identity. So yours is just to come on the day of election and cast your vote and go. We do not need to go through the hassle of, now, if you have heard INEC announce result, total number of voters registered, 1 million. Total people that came up to vote, 800 and something thousand. People that was verified, 500 and something thousand. Have you heard those things? Right? This needs to solve those issues. And secondly, it takes the control of rigging away from the government. Right? It takes it away from the government. The government should not be able to infiltrate blockchain. I mean, the kind of energy or manpower that you need to corrupt a blockchain is not available in the world to a government, right? So it means rigging will be a thing of the past if we can enhance everything that SUI offers, or Web3 offers, or blockchain offers into the voting system that we have in our country. It is terrible. I hope we agree on that, right? Please. Next is healthcare data management. When I was giving my intro, I talked about how that if currently there's no hospital in Nigeria where if you go, the first thing that they will tell you, no matter how emergency that thing is, you must have to go and open a folder, right? You must have to go and open a file. You pay to the receptionist, then you come and queue, then the doctor, right? We need to have a kind of stuff that exists on blockchain, right? So that all the information that is about your health is on a card or on a solution. A doctor can just swipe it across any solution and find out where your latest care is supposed to come from. People have been treated wrongly just because a nurse, while transferring files, mistakenly spilled it, and in the process of arranging it back, she put a paper in the folder she's not supposed to put. So the doctor will just receive the file and start to treat somebody for insanity instead of ordinary malaria. Why? Because papers misplaced, right? We can correct that. Next, please. Yes, so this is where I'm going to end. So I want to call on all of us. I want to call on you and me. Like I said, I am not a developer. My team lead is not a developer. So it means there's space for all of us. Everything that I've said, I've not spoken to only developers. I'm just giving ideas, right? If you're a UI UX designer, there's a place for you. You get. So this space is wide for all of us to come and explore. We need to look at our society and say this is a problem. So we need to create something in the Web3 ecosystem using SUI that can solve that problem, right? Right? Yes, so I think I'm done. This is where I will take questions. So if you have questions, please, can I see your hand? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, only 4 questions, please. Okay, 5, 6. Okay, that's all. I'm going to take 6 questions, and that's all. Please, can you please help me with the mic?
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So my question goes like this. In the blockchain, or should I say the Web3 world that we are in now, I think the sole purpose is to onboard everybody, you understand, together for global adoption and all of that. So my question is this, scalability. My question is concerning scalability. How does Sui tend to solve the scalability issue? Because you mentioned something about latency time, low latency and all of that. So, but I'm not still clear on that. But I don't know if you have an answer to this, my question. How does Sui solve this issue of scalability? Because if we are to onboard many people on the blockchain and all of that, it can cause a congestion and stuff like that. So what are the solutions? Or I also took note of what you said before, that there are still problems that we are tackling. But for now, what makes you unique in this solving scalability issue? Thank you.
Okay, when I started, I said there are 3 things by which Sui is tackling, right? By which Sui is using to tackle or answer industry challenges. And one of them is scalability. Next is speed. The other is cost. See, if his question is that, what if we have the kind of adoption that we desire, and then they now come on Sui, it starts to cause congestion? I don't think that's a cause for concern, because I did not mention the TPS or the scalability by which Sui handles, right? Do you understand? Are we together? So I think it handles close to 297,000 transactions per second. Do you understand? So it's not supposed to be a source of concern for both of us, right? Adoption, we need a lot of adoption. In fact, the Web3 adoption, I don't think it's up to 15% in the world, right? Web2 on its own it's not up to 70% adoption. So it means we have a lot of work to do on Web3. So, but however, first we have the foundation by which scalability is not an issue because of the kind of transactions or the things it handles, right? So we have a lot of solutions on it already, right? That existing blockchains do not have up to half of it. However, they are not recording the kind of speed or latency that Sui records at the moment. This is at the moment. Imagine when upgrades come and everything happens to it, jam packing or congestion that you mentioned will not be an issue. Are you clear? Yes, please. Okay. My ambassador wants to say something.
So my name is Joshua Orwe. Just to answer his question real quick. On the issue of scalability, Sui processes transactions currently at 297,000. So we can process 297,000 transactions per second. Now, obviously, Sui doesn't have the number of users that Solana blockchain has, right? But one thing you should know is that the team that built Sui, the team behind the Sui blockchain, is a team from Facebook. So already, they know how to build solutions for a large number of people. They have been building applications for billions of users. If you check Facebook, Facebook has billions of users, right? So this team broke out from Facebook, came and then developed the Sui blockchain. So currently, like I said, Sui can process 297,000 transactions per second. But that is not the limit. With Sui, there is no throughput, there is no limit. Now, if you think that is the maximum number, if you increase the number of validators that the Sui blockchain has, the number of transactions that can be processed per limit also increases. Now, currently you need about, I think, 2 million Sui to run a validator node, right? But Sui is actually reducing that to 800,000 Sui. So if you have 800,000 Sui, you can actually run a validator node, which means this is reducing the number of Sui that you need, and more people can actually run more validators. So basically, if the number of Sui needed to run a validator is reduced, it just means that you're going to have more validators. So basically, 297,000 transactions that can process per second will actually be increased. Now, Sui was built to be scalable and was built for a large amount of people to process transactions at crazy speed. 0.5 seconds is what is needed to process a transaction in Sui. So to answer your question, basically, scalability is not an issue in Sui because there is no throughput, there is no limit, there is no ceiling. If you think the blockchain is congested with the number of people coming in, the validators will just be increased, then so we can handle more transactions just like that.
Can we please celebrate him for me? Thank you very much. He's Joshua Orway. He's a Sui ambassador. So it answers the question of congestion, right? With the throughput and all of that, and more validators. At the moment, it's 297,000 transactions per second. Do you understand? So it was built for people, for a lot of people. That was the aim. So thank you very much. Next question. Yes, please.
Thank you. My question goes like this. According to what he said you need about 2 million Sui to become a validator. Now, I want to go more on that detail. I want to understand it better. A Sui now is currently about $2 right now, ranging about. So if you need that certain amount of Sui, which is about $4 million worth of Sui, to become a validator, is that really, that's a very huge barrier according to, like, now, for the average person to become a validator. So I'm trying to say. And the other question I have now is, how easy is it to run a rig? Like, if you compare Sui to other blockchains like Ethereum need expensive machines and high energy to actually become a validator. Is that the same thing with Sui, or do you need something as easy as a laptop, for example, to run a node? That's my question.
Okay, I'm going to answer the first question before I give him the mic. So you heard him very well. He said it is currently being reduced to 800,000. Do you understand? Which means the more onboarding, as community grows, the minimum criteria to be a validator will drop, right? In this, the transaction per second will increase. So he said, like, throughput, there's no limit, there's no boundary yet. There's no boundary, not even yet. Do you understand? So I don't think it's a concern that it's not 2 million, it is 800,000 as it is. So with more, if you come in, another person comes in, with the more that the community increases, this criteria drops. Meanwhile, our transaction per second is increasing. Do you understand? So there's no, you want to, I'm coming. So in that, you heard him. So it's not like as it is. We don't have the community that other blockchain has yet. I mean, the number of people, right? So we cannot, but at this, it is 800,000, not 2 million. Do I answer your question? I mean, it's dropping. At the time, it was 2 million, but now it's 800,000. So it means it will continue to drop to be a validator. And because of the consensus mechanism that Sui use, proof of stake, it means it will continue to drop, right? It means the number of things that you have is what can qualify you to be a validator. Imagine if it is as 1,000 Sui, right? Me and you can come in, right? I think we are good. Proof of stake makes it possible. If it is another kind of consensus mechanism, maybe it make it difficult. So your second question is for developers. I'm not the dev. Do you understand? Are you a dev? Okay, please give him the mic.
Okay, so first off, you said something about what was your first question again? Okay, the first question. Now, the reason why it's 800K now is because to increase the limit so that to prevent hackers from getting in. Because there's something called 51% attack. So when like more than 50%, because imagine it was just 1,000 Sui, for example now, you can see that anybody can just come and get a validator node and start validating transaction. So some group of people, they will just come and buy a lot of nodes, like get into the system, and then they can have they will come together and they will have more than 51%. So therefore, they kind of have control over the blockchain. So them raising it to about 800K is to increase that barrier. Just imagine you are a hacker and you want to hack Sui. So you have to like, I don't know how many validators on the network right now. So meaning you have to buy like 800K, that's about $800,000, and you have to get over 51% to actually hack the blockchain. So you see that is not reasonable, because if you have that amount of money, there will be no need to actually want to hack the system. So that's for the first question. Now for the second question you said, I don't remember, please come again.
I was asking about the resources needed to become a validator, in terms of the mining resources.
Okay, for the resources, it's quite expensive, like I said. It's just to raise the barrier so that people cannot just come and take advantage of it. So you will need a lot of money. And if you're talking about a rig, you need like millions of dollars to actually run a rig, millions of dollars to run a rig that of crypto nodes. So that's my answer to your question.
So thank you very much. To those people that don't understand, 51% is the minimum or by which a blockchain can still be safe, right? It means if people who are probably the wrong kind of people get to control that 51%, they can attack the blockchain. Do you understand? So you need a lot of resources. Some governments do not even have it. I mean, some government of nations do not have it. So that is the kind of way, minimum criteria by which a blockchain should not be attacked, and it is based on validators, right? 51%, that's what he means by 51%. Right, so next, yes.
Yes, Sui on campus, the team says blockchain beyond limits, and you talked about decentralized and centralized. You also talked about Web 2 to Web 3. And nowadays, technology is advancing every second, every day, and every time. So I penned down a question on blockchain technology while you were speaking to us. So now the question is, what are the potential risks and challenges associated with the widespread adoption of blockchain technology, and how can it be mitigated?
He said this question is because of the adoption that we are bringing into Web 3. I mean, the kind of adoption that we're having now, we are moving away from Web 2 to Web 3, right? He's asking the potential risk. Maybe I mentioned it, but I did not. Maybe I possibly did not mention the risk involved with the blockchain, right? There are risks in blockchain. Like he said, one of the risks is that it is still possible to attack. If you control that 51%, you can attack a blockchain, right? Even though you need a lot of resources. I mean, most government cannot afford it. Secondly is that because it needs to be regulated, it needs to be regulated. I mean, legal framework. That's what I mean now. Because a lot of things can happen that government cannot control. And whatever it is, whatever we say, government is the control of the world, right? We need to do things by which the government can still monitor you and still not discriminate, and still illegal things will not be going under it. Do you understand? I don't know if you understand. So we need regulatory framework. We need policies. We need policies to be put in place so that all of us who adopt Web3, blockchain, to anything that we want to do should have a kind of thing that still puts us in check. That thing is in Web 2. Web 2 has things that put them in check. I mean, if you own a platform like WhatsApp, there are regulatory agencies to report to, just in case your platform is not being used to commit something, security, or all of that. So, number one ways that we can mitigate the risk in blockchain is by regulatory framework. We need to come up with policies so that you, and everyone who uses it must make sure that even though we are here and information is not available to everybody because it is decentralized, we still must not use it to do criminal stuff. Do you understand? So regulatory framework is part of what my solutions. Please, the next question, please. Very fast.
GM, everyone.
GM.
My question is on almost gas-free transaction. If I'm not mistaken, I think SU might actually be the least in terms of layer one decentralized this thing, if I'm not mistaken. We have this thing like Ethereum, Solana, even Ton and others, which too is only in 2 point something dollar whatsoever for now. What if they gain potential later and they, get to, let's say, $50, $100 per SU? Would that transaction still be free
Okay, I understand
transaction
the
or
question.
less?
Quickly, the question of congestion is still part of what he's asking, right? He's saying if Sui appreciate to the point by which the token is $100 plus, will it still be maintaining the same gas transaction? It's congestion issues you are still asking. We have answered the question. At the moment, with more validators coming in, our transaction per second, at the moment, is 297,000. Imagine how it will increase in the space of having more validators. So it's the same thing, please. It's the gas fee transaction. That is in the ecosystem, right? So congestion or increasement of gas fee cost is not a problem. Like I mentioned, scalability, speed, and cost is not something that will change with growth. Do you understand? It will change, positively with growth, not decline with growth. Scalability, speed, and cost will not decline with growth, right? Please, to find out more information about Sui, just www.sui.io. Most of the questions you're asking me is, do you understand? It's theoretical. So my time here is up. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.